Right, so let's look at yet another example. Suppose we want to find the probability that negative 2.03 is less than or equal to z less than or equal to 1.1. So now let's identify this probability on the figure, right? So say we have our standard normal curve. If this is negative 2.03 and this is 1.1, then the probability that we want to look for is the shaded area here. Okay. So now how do we deal with something like this? Now if you draw the standard normal curve, right? And if this is 1.1, then if you look up 1.1 in the table, you get the area to the left of 1.1, right? And then if you look up negative 2.03, then you get the area to the left of negative 2.03. Right? But then notice that if you take the area to the left of 1.1 and then you subtract the area to the left of negative 2.03, you get exactly the area that you need. Okay? So that tells us that the area to the between negative 2.03 and 1.1 is going to be equal to the area to the left of 1.1, which is just the probability that z is less than or equal to 1.1 minus the area to the left of negative 2.03, which is just the probability that z is less than or equal to negative 2.03. Okay, so let's write this up here. This is going to be equal to the probability that z is less than or equal to 1.1 minus the probability that z is less than or equal to negative 2.03. Okay? Now, for these probabilities, we're looking for the probability that z is less than or equal to something. Right? So we can go straight to the table. Right? So the table gives you the first term, and the table also gives you the second term. So let's look in the table and find out what these numbers are. So we want to find the probability that z is less than or equal to 1.1. So let's go to the positive side of the table. So the probability that z is less than or equal to 1.1, we can write 1.1 as 1.10. So the first part is 1.1 and the second part of this value is 0.00. So you want to go to row 1.1 and look under column 0.00, and that gives you a probability of 0.8643. So this is 0.8643. Now what about the second term? The second term is the probability that z is less than or equal to negative 2.03. So let's go to the negative side of the table. We want the probability that z is less than or equal to negative 2.03. We write this as negative 2.03. So the first part of this value is negative 2.0 and the second part is 0.03. So let's go to row negative 2.0. Look under column 0.03. Right? you should find that the probability that z is less than or equal to negative 2.03 is 0.0212. So the second term here is 0.0212. And so if you do the math, you get 0.8431 as your answer. Now that leads us to the second rule when it comes to using the standard normal probabilities table, which is that the probability that z1 is less than or equal to z less than or equal to z2 is equal to the probability that z is less than or equal to z2 minus the probability that z is less than or equal to z1. So in this video, we learned how to use the standard normal table to find the probability that the standard normal variable falls between two values.